Up until now, Outriders has been an elusive game, a whisper on the wind. At E3 2019, we were treated to a cinematic sneak peek with little else to go on except some haunting and harrowing images, capped off with a title card. This past week, some of the fortunate few were given the opportunity to get a first look at Outriders and see just what the game is all about, and I was definitely not disappointed. People Can Fly have been working on shooters for some time now, with titles like Fortnite, Gears of War Judgment, and Bulletstorm under their belt, not to mention plenty of other gritty shooters in their collective resumes. From the outset, it was clear that Outriders was a passion project they've been working on for a number of years, but taking all of their knowledge and putting it together with the legendary RPG portfolio of Square Enix has created an amalgamation with something for everyone. You might be forgiven for thinking this is just another looter shooter, but there's so much more to Outriders than meets the eye. Yes, you'll team up in squads of 3 to unleash hell on your enemies to find better weapons and armor, but more than that, it's a heavy RPG system and engaging narrative that reinforces this as a game with a soul. Outriders can be played solo or with up to 3 people, but what I was able to experience was a game that reinforces that hefty single-player narrative we crave and blends it with co-op gunplay. Characters felt real. They have unique motivations and personalities, and the developers at People Can Fly have hinted that the bonds you forge and destroy with certain characters may even have adverse effects. Outriders borrows the mix of powers and gunplay from titles like Destiny and Anthem. Whereas Destiny is all about guns and featured powers, Anthem is about powers and featured guns. But Outriders seems to balance both those things together. Each class can equip up to 3 abilities at a time with their own individual and notably brief cooldowns, but you never feel like you need to rely on either powers or guns individually to win a fight. The complexity of using them in tandem comes pretty naturally, and the fact that each player's powers can stack on an enemy together makes for an explosive and visceral experience. I played as the Trickster, a nimble class that manipulates time and space. I was able to erect an energy field that slowed down time for enemies trapped within, charging them with electric energy and setting them up for the Pyromancer and Devastator in my squad to obliterate them with their respective powers in gloriously gory fashion. The effects of these attacks stacked on one another and made for a brilliant sci-fi spectacle before our eyes, and this was accomplished with only the beginning few abilities. I can't wait to see what the late game powers have to offer. While I might normally play a destructive class like the Pyromancer, the Trickster appealed to my penchant for playing a roguelike character. His melee strike will slow down time, making the target easier to hit. His starting ability is a wide, arcing slash with an energy sword that electrifies the enemy with a decent range. It felt like a really potent support ability to run into a crowd, slow them down, and unleash a hail of bullets while my allies destroyed them. The third ability I got to try was to teleport. The Trickster can point at any enemy on the map, regardless of if they're in view, and immediately teleport behind them, slowing down time for the target and gaining a buffed energy shield with a chance for some serious damage. It took me far too long to realize that this was the best time to have a shotgun handy. As we explored the settlement of Rift City, the dire situation of humanity became apparent. Any tech more advanced than a grease engine has been wiped out, leaving humanity fighting for scraps. The post-apocalyptic styling is incredibly well realized, and most importantly, no part of the city or Enoch feels underpopulated. Humans, creatures, enemies, they all really make the world feel alive. Locations are designed to feel lived in and yet destroyed by the war. The environmental details were incredible, whether it was the repurposed steel plating now used as a walkway, the eroded stone of a sniper tower, or the way the foliage moved in the breeze. No part of the game I experienced felt like wasted space, instead all culminating in telling me the story of Outriders. As my squad progressed, the world itself would level up in difficulty alongside our performance and skill level. Varying levels of world tier difficulties would change enemy strength and loot drops as expected, yet it's the host player who controls the world tier setting. We only managed to get to the 4th level during the demo, but it's expected to have around 15 levels to unlock. As we explored the world and picked up loot, we found a typical assortment of weapons: shotguns, sniper rifles, assault rifles, etc. Players will always have 2 weapon slots to equip their weapon, not locked by class in any way. However, a 3rd slot is reserved for handguns with unlimited ammo. I had an assault rifle with 600 bullets and often found myself running low, so the handguns were a great option as a backup until I realized their range and damage is just as viable as the standard weapons. I frequently found myself switching to the pistol in favor of their accuracy over the spray of bullets from a fully automatic. Combat felt challenging enough to be engaging and keep me on my toes without being rage-inducing. I was in the moment at all times and thoroughly engrossed in my actions. While the game does retain the snap-to-cover system of the Gears franchise, battlefields don't feel designed so you have to use it. It's entirely possible to play out a fight without using the cover, giving you the freedom to play as you see fit. Our hands-on time culminated with an epic boss battle where we really had to put our skills to the test. It was easy enough to chip away at the boss's health, but he had more than a few tricks up his sleeves. His abilities alone were catastrophic, but we learned very quickly the key to defeating him: teamwork. More than ever, I feel like Outriders nails the necessity for that teamwork. Alone, you are powerful. Together, you can be unstoppable. Our powers were mighty, but it was only using them together at the right time and communicating that led to our victory. The battle went on for almost 15 minutes, and every moment was brilliantly tense. Despite playing with controller in hand for hours, the rush Outriders delivered made it feel like a half hour at most. I went into this game knowing only the bare bones and came out of it wanting more. Since I put that controller down, all I've wanted to do is dive back in, and from what the team at People Fly have told us, Outriders is shaping up to be a serious blockbuster to watch out for. Whether you love looter shooters or engrossing sci-fi RPG adventures, Outriders seems to borrow the very best from Bulletstorm, Gears of War, Destiny 2, Anthem, and The Division 2 to create a genuinely captivating experience that I couldn't get enough of. What do you think of our Outriders footage? Let us know your thoughts on Facebook, Twitter, or in the comments section below. Outriders is expected to launch in holiday 2020 and will be available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and PC. For all the gaming news, previews, and reviews you crave, keep it locked right here at COG Connected.